Good afternoon, sir. Do you hear us?
Good afternoon. I do.
Nice. All right. Fantastic. Now, I got to know, another win. Y'all are up at 5-2. Everybody wants to know, what did you think about the return performance from Dak Prescott?
Well, I thought he was outstanding. I mean, been off and obviously, feeling probably a little different than it normally does, the thumb. I thought he played outstanding. And, I thought the coaches did a good job of sticking, with our complimentary football game plan. And, we were able to protect the ball and not have the big turnovers. And ultimately, that's what won the game for us. But I thought overall it was great to have Dak back out on the field. He's undisputed leader of this team. I once had a player, Michael Irvin, tell me that, you can't be a great leader unless you're a great player and out there playing. And certainly I think that holds true for Dak. I just think the team's just going to get better from here, and certainly will respond to having Dak present.
Now, everyone is excited that he came back. On the flip side, it seems as though at least the word we heard is that Jordan Lewis had surgery last night and he will probably be out for the rest of the season. Can you confirm that, or what can you tell us on that front?
Yes, he had surgery last night, and just, such a tough loss for us. And I know it's tough for Jordan, but he did have season-ending surgery last night.
With the plan at this moment, I know Bland steps in there pretty well. Is that kind of the plan moving forward, is for him to stay there in the slot, or is there another thought on what y'all can do?
Well, there's several ways we can go there. Obviously, we have Kelvin Joseph, who's having a good year, and we'll look at that too as well. And but certainly, I know Coach McCarthy and Dan Quinn will make a great decision there. We're fortunate that we do have some really good cornerback depth. I know Nashon's been inactive most of the year. He's a hell of a special teams player, and it'd be nice to get him up as well. So I think we'll be in great shape, and don't necessarily, because of our depth there, and we were long there, shouldn't have to do anything other than next man up.
Stephen Jones joins us here on the KNC Masterpiece on 105.3 The Fan. The complimentary style, that formula that y'all had planned out for this game, we kind of have been discussing that as a look, keep it the same, keep rolling that way. But do you expect to see this offense evolve and open up a little more throughout the season as you get closer to the end of the season?
I think you certainly want to be able to do that if needed. I think right now, like you said, our complimentary football, as Mike says, is really paying dividends for us. But at the same time, I think as Dak gets honed in and gets back, each week getting more back in the swing of things, we all have seen what he's capable of if called upon. So I just think we'll move forward. I know we'll do it in a way that certainly keeps our rhythm and what we're getting done. Playing really good defense, running the football, and doing the things we need to do to win football games. But, I do think we showed it last year that we're capable of having a top offense if needed at some point in time. So I think we'll continue to work on that. But I certainly feel good about where we are right now. And as I said, I think we're only going to improve as we move forward as a football team.
Now, since you're talking about running the football on the offense in general, one of the narratives that has kind of popped up over the years that kind of agitates me is some folks assume that Tony Pollard can't get the tough yards or can't push the pile. What are your thoughts about folks who say that?
Well, I think he's very capable of it if called upon. I think they're a great yin and yang, if you will, Zeke and Tony, and certainly Tony's got that element of juice that very few backs in our league have in terms of, giving a crease, he can go to the house on you. But I do think I'm with you. I think he can get the tough yards when called upon. The good news is we got two really good running backs that we seem to do our best when those carries are right there pretty even with each other. So I know our guys are conscientious of that. Between Mike and Kellen and the offensive staff, but we're just so fortunate to have two really good backs in Zeke and Tony.
Do you feel the same way when describing the tight end position, as obviously we've seen the rise of the duo that we're calling Fergushot, and then also Dalton Schultz. Do you feel that same level of fortune when it comes to having multiple tight ends?
Well, hats off to our scouting staff. To be able to find two young tight ends like that in the draft, college free agency, we've upgraded that room in a big way. And certainly the two guys, as you call them, Ferguson, have stepped up in a big, big way. And when Dalton was battling through some injuries there, it's great to see him get some confidence there yesterday. I think, that was a big part of it. And had to go out and certainly having Dak back. We all know what Dalton is for Dak and how important he is to Dak. But at the same time, to see Dak moving it around to the young guys. So I do think we've upgraded that room in a big way. And I think it'll be a plus, not only as we want to use, some 13 personnel, things like that. It'll give us the opportunity, to have guys out there who can help the running game, but at the same time, if you sleep on them, they'll make some plays on you.
Do you get the sense?
The passing game.
Do you get the sense that Dalton Schultz is still as good to go as possible at this point in the season after last night? Because there was the tackle where he got pulled backwards, and it looked ugly for sure. I know he bounced back out there, but do you get the sense that he's still rocking along and going to be good to go for the Bears?
Well, I was so impressed, and I think surely when he sees that on tape and sees that he's able to work through that, that's going to make him feel good about his knee and structure. As you said, that was an ugly shot on tape, but I do think he's gained a lot of confidence. You could see it in his body language as the game went on. You could see it in his body language after the game that he's really, I think, feeling good about where he is and where he's going.
Micah has been pretty vocal about the basically the fact that he gets held on every play, pretty much. Right. I think if we're watching too, we feel like it is, and I know it's tough for tackles to be able to stop him on every play too. But I'm kind of curious, what do you think gives first? The referees start actually calling all these holdings, or that Micah stops mentioning it, or the tackles just stop holding him?
Could be a combination of all the above, but that's just part of it when you're a great player. I mean, certainly they know where he is. They certainly know what they're up against, and probably pulling out all their different tools in their toolkit to try to work against Mike. It's a compliment to him. We all know those officials. It's known in coaching you can't call a penalty on every play, but at the same time, certainly Jerry, myself, we're sitting up in the booth and looking and thinking, well, boy, they could have called holding on that play. Well, they might could have called holding on that play. Well, we know that's not going to happen on every play, and certainly, it evens out. I mean, we've, had our share of getting away with some, and that's part of the business that we're in. We just want consistency as much as we can from the officials, but we also know that they're going to miss some.
We're talking to Stephen Jones right here on 105 through the Fan. Now, you mentioned the depth at cornerback. I feel like depth at defensive line has been a big deal for the team this year as well. I was kind of hoping you would walk us through the evolution and the development of Neville Gallimore as a player, because he's a healthy scratch. Where does he sit in this hierarchy, and what does he have to do to get on the field more?
Well, it's just it's game to game. Now, I will say he wasn't necessarily a healthy scratch. He was working through some things from a health standpoint, from a training standpoint, and just decided, but at this point in time in the season, all these defensive linemen and offensive linemen are banged up. So a lot of times you just go with, who's feeling the best and practicing the best on that particular week. And a lot of it depends on the personnel you're going against. All that plays into it. But I wouldn't necessarily say, I wouldn't read into that it was definitely, hey, Neville was a healthy scratch. It was just who's the most healthy at this point in time, and that's why you need the depth. I feel, that's one of the strong points about our football team, in particular on defense. Whether it's our defensive line, our linebackers, looks like we may get to see Damone Clark get on the field this week. Certainly, that linebacking core's got depth, and then as we've mentioned in the secondary, we feel good about it, and so it's a deep defensive football team, and a lot of this is matchups and who feels the best that week.
Is that the same kind of general line of thinking when it comes to like availability or playability of Jabril Cox then?
Same type of things. It's just matchups, and it could be injury issues at other positions where you want to go heavy because another guy's banged up a little bit. Yesterday we had to carry 4 tight ends, want to make sure we were, Dalton was going to be able to get through the game, so we moved McKeon up to be active. All those things play into it. So I think to read into week to week who may have sat that week doesn't necessarily at all mean the players got a down error or not playing well. I think it's more just matchups and trying to put, the most complimentary 48 players we can on the field on that particular game.
Steven, I'm kind of curious, how many teams have the luxury of having a Donovan Wilson type player on their football field?
Well, I think Donovan's unique in terms of, his violence at the ball. I mean, he is such a tremendous tackler, and he comes and he's bringing the business when he does come. So, to have those, 3 safeties that play at such a high level back there, normally we are playing with 2 linebackers and 3 safeties, in terms of where the NFL is going with the passing game. It's a wrinkle Dan's brought to the equation, and between Hooker and Curse and Dono, it's a really solid group of safeties, and certainly got some guys that can help in behind them. We mentioned the depth and a Bell back there. Certainly can go in there and play good football for us if called upon.
Last thing for you, since you were mentioning another position with a lot of depth, is this the best you've felt about depth on this team, especially defensively, in I don't even know how long?
It's been a while. It's just, hats off to, the drafting that we've done with Will and his staff. Hats off to Dan being able to get his staff to work with our personnel and have vision for the type of players we want to have on that side of the ball. And then I do think we've got some, good depth offensively. As we all know, we got one of the best tackles in the league who hadn't played this year, who we're going to have the luxury of getting back at some point in time. So, we've got a guy like Jason Peters, who's probably going to be a Hall of Fame type player, who's adding depth to that offensive line. So it's a really good group of players, in terms of our roster. There's a couple spots, you always looking for better, looking to improve, but really like where we are with this team right now.
Appreciate the time as always, and congratulations on being up to 5-2.
Thanks a lot, guys. Great being on.